back?
You're back.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure where we got cut off at exactly, but we're gonna just jump right into what we were even talking about. So essentially, we were talking about legacy, but particularly the legacy of food, in a sense, because really what we were saying before the camera got cut off was the fact that in the 1950s, after the World War I particularly, the government started giving out loans, but loans with a specific goal. These loans were loans that were given to individuals, especially veterans, to kind of purchase like land and also give like loans for like housing developments. So you see like the apartment complexes and all the different single family homes and all of the stuff that you see around. Like all of that really kicked off in the 1950s. And it kicked off really with the goal of like breeding that individualism. That individualism that we all were talking about. That individualism that kind of breeds like that loss of like legacy. That loss or that sense of like entitlement that most people you see have here today in the Western society. And I say sense of entitlement because people in the West, they have a tendency to want everything to be easy and accessible to them and for them. So that whole sense of community where everybody like plays their part, or like everybody has a role, or everybody does what they need to do in order to build the society or build the family that is necessary to continue a legacy, to continue the values and the traditions. It kind of was cut like during the 1950s. And of systematically. Of course, it was a gradual process. It took a while, but it really hit its peak during the 1950s. So that's essentially what we were talking about. I don't know if you guys heard any of that, because we kind of were talking while the thing was off.
Yeah. And then Merikara was gonna talk about what her grandma was telling her.
Oh yeah.
Right.
My grandma. Shout out to you, grandma. Love you so much. Yeah, so one day I was talking to my grandma, and she lives in New York in like one of those big buildings with like 19, 20 floors on it. And she, you know, has all of these neighbors that she doesn't know. But she's really coming from like a farm. Like she lived on a farm. Her dad was a farmer, and I believe it was in Alabama. And she grew up like eating off of the land, whatever her dad farmed. They ate. She told me that they had like one pig, and they would eat that one pig for the whole entire year. Different parts of the pig.
One pig
for
a whole year.
For a whole year.
How?
I don't know how, but she said we would have one pig. They would eat every single part of the pig differently throughout the whole year, and then on holidays they would eat chicken. And that was the only time that they would eat chicken. Yeah.
So I'm still so curious.
I don't know.
How did she tell you how they preserve the pig?
She didn't tell me, but she said it wasn't a lot of meat each day. It was just like a little bit. So they would have like a little bit of meat each day, because even like the organs and everything, they would eat the entire pig. So she was just explaining like, you know, that was, because like, she was kind of like reminiscing on her life to me. And she was like, that was life. She was like, now I'm not even like living. I'm just here. I'm just here like, and the days are going by. But before I was living, because I was living off the land, everything that I got, everything that I accumulated, everything that I did was in connection to the land. And it was in connection to what my family needed to survive. And when she was there, you know, back in the day, they used to have like magazines and things of that nature where they would project a certain image on like the city life, and they would be like, "This is where you want to go.
Another part of the systematic
This is where
change.
you want to be. This is how you have a good life. Come to the city. Get out of the South, doing the same thing every day. Go and live your life, like really live." And so she left, and she was about 17. And against her parents' will and their wishes, she went to the city. And soon after, she realized how difficult this life was in the city life, and how it wasn't really like she was living. She was just like trying to like keep up with this image
Keep up
that
with the
she's trying to
Joneses.
find. Little did she know that it didn't really exist. Like, not for her at least, but it was like, this is what she was sold. And now she's, I think, 60, and she's like, I regret ever leaving my life that I had back there, where it was like, I knew what I was doing. I was doing the things that my family needed to do, and I was a part of that family. And now she has all this land that's like hers, and she don't even like know where it is or know how to get to it.
Wow.
And
At all?
Nah, she was like, I mean, I guess it's still there, but like, if I went back now, it's like, what am I gonna do? What? There's nobody left. So
Wow.
even the land's there, but it's like, I'm not gonna go back there because why? But then I look at my friends and my, people that stayed, and their life is like full. They have family, they have land, they still have their gardens, they still have like all of the things that she used to have that she took for granted. And now she's just like, my life is really nothing. And I couldn't even go back home because now I don't have the money to go back home. So I have to continue to hustle. So it's almost like you can't even get out of it. So it was just really interesting to like hear her kind of admit that like what she was chasing throughout her life wasn't what she thought it was, or wasn't what she was looking for. It was nothing
crazy.
at the end of the rainbow.
Wow, that's sick. That's sick. And
Yeah.
that fits the whole concept of what we've been talking about, because that right there is like a complete loss of legacy. Because like once you lose your connection with the land, like once you lose connection with like the very place you grew up in, like you essentially start to lose like your identity, yourself.
Yeah.
Because like we all come from the land in some place. Like we all come from a land somewhere. But we as human beings, like we move, we travel, but we have the ability to adapt to wherever we go, and we have the ability to kind of like build a relationship with the land, build a relationship with the things on the land. And in a sense, it's like, because I grew up in a place where I can see farming happening. My family farms, right? And then it's the same kind of situation. They left where they were from in hopes of finding a better life. But then when I really think about it, it's like, what do you mean by better life?
Right.
It's like that same thing. Like they were promoting to her grandmother, like, look, hey, come to the city, come and do this, come.
Look at
like,
the
come.
Joneses.
Look at the Joneses. Like this is what you got to keep up with. Like look at the
Forget your
material
family.
stuff. Right. Forget your farm. Look, get this modern house.
Right.
Get this TV.
Right.
Get this couch.
Be like the people in the advertisements.
Right, and 9 times out of 10, the people in the advertisement, like if we're being real, is the average
Exactly.
white middle age or middle class family, that has all the money, the cars, the wealth, the riches, and people really buy into that stuff.
And then as a photographer now, I even realize like 9 times out of 10, that person isn't even the image
Right.
that they are putting on the newspaper.
It's an actor.
Like
it's a whole
that's
actor.
not even their life.
So you're following a reality that's not based in a reality.
Exactly.
That's crazy. But the system does a good job at it, though.
It's an amazing sales tactic.
super amazing. And that's the whole concept, or the thing that America's even run on, because everybody wants to come to America, because America is like the poster child or the home of the materialistic mentality, the materialistic aspects of civilization. It's here in America. And I even found it interesting, like I went and researched this, in Texas, like Texas is like huge.
Yeah.
Like it's huge, right? It's so much land. Like people can farm, people can hunt. There's so much land in Texas.
Yeah.
Like it's huge. 74% of the population in Texas lives in 4% of the land.
Wow.
That's crazy.
74% of the population lives in 4% of the land.
Damn.
Wow.
And that's only because of that whole thing that you're talking about. It's like, oh, come here. Don't find roots there. Don't touch the land. Don't get in tune with the nature. Don't go live on your own. Don't be sustainable. Be
that's
dependent.
true.
Be independent.
That's a fact.
Be independent of the system.
And then they just
constantly.
talking about Dallas and
Houston.
Houston, exactly.
Saying, what is it?
The thing that Texas is probably
San
most
Antonio.
known for at this point in certain, demographics is the strip clubs.
Really?
Yeah, the clubs, the nightlife,
Yeah, the
party
nightlife
life.
in Houston
Yeah,
is crazy.
It's lit.
I didn't
Drake
know
made a
that.
song about it.
I didn't know that. Really?
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it sounds like I have to hit up Houston.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're missing out.
I must be.
You be careful, sir.
I'm just saying. You know, everybody gotta let loose once in a while.
Okay.
You know,
Balance things.
just balance things out. You know,
Hop on a flight, get loose.
or I might do a cross country trip. You know,
Is this what
see some other strip clubs.
Is this what the side copters are about?
You know. I was doing Lyft and I picked up a stripper the other day.
Oh, my
Oh,
dad picked
nice.
up a stripper one day
Yeah.
too.
How was it?
She was cool. She was quiet. You know, she was chill.
She
But
didn't tell
then
you
I
about
didn't
stripper life?
realize she was a stripper. I was like, oh, this is one of those girls who probably take naked pictures on Instagram. But then I pulled up to her job, and then it was like the stripping club. I was like, oh, okay. And then when she got out and I saw what she was wearing, I was like, oh, it's like skin tight, and it's like soup. What they call that? It looks like she's not wearing
Fishnet?
anything.
Or
Nah,
like the
it's
sheer,
like tight.
like
Sheer.
the
It's like-
see-through.
Nah, it's not even see through. It looks like her skin.
Oh, like nude color?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that. So, you know, everything was out there. I was like, oh, okay, that's what that is. That's cool.
What a
All
sight.
right. Yeah. But, you know, if you guys ever want to go to a strip club, I know where to go now.
Wow,
Awesome.
that was a long
wonder-
excursion.
What her legacy, what her family is like.
It's probably not that good, obviously, because she's at the strip club, right?
That's a part
She-
of the dream, you
She
know?
clearly has some daddy
It's
issues
a part
there.
of what's sold to you.
Hey, some people do that just to get by, you know.
Yeah, like Diamond on Players Club, right?
Get by. See, that's another thing, though, right? Because you even mentioned it, like your grandmother. She left her house or her home where she was in tune with the land. Like, she had everything she needed. She wasn't needing anything. Like, everything was there. Like, there was a sustainability. She left there to enter into insustainability.
Yeah, without knowing.
And it's the same thing with a lot of immigrants who leave their place of residence. They
Yep.
leave their countries. They leave their so-called third world countries. They come here. They leave sustainability for instability.
Exactly.
And most of the time, we think that instability is our stability. But, like, there's a constant action, reaction
But
every time.
Even the story that Merikara told, you know, before we got cut off, I was about to finish this funny story. Well, I was asking my grandma for $5 all the time, and then one day she was like, you know, sitting next to me on the bed, and she started telling me, like, you know, my parents were like slaves. Like, do you understand that?
She just got straight to the point, huh?
She didn't even she didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't say she didn't try to give me like a proverb. She was just like, you know, my parents was slaves. And like they was
That's
really
not funny, bro.
It's not funny, but I had to hold back my laugh when she said it. I'm like 11, 12 years old, so
Right,
like
'cause
she
it
just
doesn't feel
say
that real to you.
and it like I snap, like I realized like, yo, this lady is literally like 80 years old, and if I do the math, that's her birth. Like there was something in the world going on at that time, and if I'm getting it in the history classes, like it
Right.
was slavery. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
when she
that's-
said it, she was like, then at some point, you know, there was sharecropping and, you know, farming, all that kind of stuff. And we learned how to like make our own, or kind of like give yourself a value, like in something. You don't just ask for something all the time and not do anything to like deserve it. Not to say that, you know, you don't do anything around the house. I see you. I see some of the things that you're doing, but you know, this mentality of always like asking, it says something about you. And like that, man, when I walked away from that conversation, I swear I was a different person, because I never put that into context. Like this woman understands life in a completely different way than I do.
Yeah.
So when she sees me take certain things for granted, it's almost like dang, like I did all of that for nothing, for you to now be here and like just be leeching off my back.
But it's almost
off of
like that's
I
what
did.
she did it for.
In a sense.
You know what I mean?
In a sense.
Because it wasn't from anything really bigger than that.
Right, exactly.
And that's actually even what the argument is for most people who are descendants of slavery. It's like, well, my ancestors went through all that, so I can have an easy life. So I can just live free. So I can just do what I want to do. They weren't able to do what they want to do, so that's the legacy that was left. So now I'm gonna do what I want to do. But
It's true.
I see how it's a dangerous thing because it's like we're feeding into this what the system wants us to feed into.
Right.
Because at that point, then we just become easy access because now the system is going to continue to sell things to us. So now we're going to continue to want things. And it puts us into that state of like consumerism.
Yeah, and it brings up like a huge point as far as farming in general, because what you just said, that's even like a concept that Master Naba would talk about all the time. And there's actually a short clip on YouTube that we have on our YouTube. If you type in producers versus consumers, and he talks about like the consumer mentality where like technically everyone that lives in America is just a consumer. Like none of us really produce our own sustenance. Like it's not ours.
Very rare.
It's so rare. And even in those rare situations, the mentality is still kind of like, give me what I need in order for me to sustain myself and be a producer. But the reality is like none of us here have an understanding of like what it means to produce the parts of your life that matter the most. Like Kagzrimen was saying with that example of in the 1950s, people were living in compounds. And then
Families.
somehow it's like, okay, we're doing everything where our families are like the center of everything. And we're even building our communities in that way where my sister has a house next to me with her husband. And then my father's house is like the main house and, you know, doing things in that way. And then you get to a point where they start selling that land or those government loans come in and they can buy up that land. And now it's not about what we're producing anymore as a family. As like a unit. We're not producing anything. Now we're going to the grocery store, or now we're having to go to the farmer who bought the land like closest to us and sort of change the landscape. So it brings up that important part of life that is farming and like how important it is to really have an understanding of like what it is around you that really contributes to how you sustain yourself, like within a certain place, like on a certain plot of land, because nobody really understands that. Like I can't go outside and identify 2 trees right now if my life depended on it. Maybe an oak tree. But that's all I got. If I see acorns, I know it's an oak tree. But that's about it. Like outside of that, none of us really have that like idea of the world around us to be like, okay, this is this, and this is how this contributes to this environment, and this is how I can use this to make this within the environment, and then that gives this to my family at a certain time of the year, and then based on that time of the year I can add that to this, and then that gives us this healing remedy for this time of the year because these diseases are coming in this time of the year. It's like none of those connectivities are there anymore because none of us are deciding to be like the producers of our life.
And that's the sad part about it is because we've been kind of like hoodwinked and bamboozled, as Malcolm X would say it. Like we've been tricked to thinking that being able to buy something is equivalent to the value that we have. So like the value that we used to have as human beings, as people, was just knowing that we have to value nature. we have to value our surroundings. We have to value those things around us, like Kenibashu was saying. Like, there's things around us that is useful. There's things around us that we can use. There's things around us that we can utilize. But the system has tricked us to the point where we can't even identify those things, to the point where now we have to just buy things, and where we're buying it from. We don't even know where most of the stuff we eat, or the stuff we get, where it comes from. Like, we don't know. Yeah. It's almost like we're out of touch with reality. And I think, like, to really truly get back into the natural order of things, like, people have to start to learn to farm again. Like, I looked up the statistics of, like, how much people know how to farm in the United States. And it said only, like, less than 2% of families are actually have farms or, like, ranches or homesteads. Less than 2%.
2% is wild.
Less than 2%. And that's crazy. And some of those people in the less than 2% are even the ones producing for other people who don't know how to produce for themselves.
Word.
And back in the days in indigenous societies, everybody had a specialty. Everybody knew how to produce what they produced. So there would always be like a form of like exchange, like between people. But now the system has now removed you from yourself. They've removed you from your land, and they've removed you from connection with land. So now you don't have any self-identity, to the point where you can't even self-identify with land anymore. So now everything is, you just become dependent. And it's crazy because most people in this society, they think it's better because we have easy access to things. But getting into things like in an initiatic sense, right? Energetically speaking, when you grow your own food, the energy you receive from it is different.
Right.
When you can actually sit down and plant into the earth, the energy you receive from that is different. Because even putting your hands in the soil gives you certain minerals, gives you certain nutrients that we're lacking in the modern society. So it makes me even think, like, no wonder there's certain sicknesses. Because people are not getting in touch with the earth. That energy from the earth is not hitting anybody anymore, because everybody's just consuming, and they're consuming things where they don't even know where it comes from. It's like if I pick a tomato, right, that I grew, and I eat that tomato, energetically, the energies of the earth are feeding that tomato.
Talk about it. Go.
Right?
I picked some of my tomatoes today. No, but honestly, no, for real. It's crazy because it's like this whole sequence of events that kind
Shout
of unfolded.
out to moms.
And yeah, shout out to mom. Shout out to Maud's garden. It's lit. But Maud is my mother, by the way. And so I went to the grocery store the other night, and I was like, dang, we need some tomatoes. And I'm looking at all these tomatoes, and I'm like, I seen a real tomato before.
And that ain't it.
This shit is too shiny. Okay. So I'm like, I touched the tomato, and I'm like, it's something on here. And then I look around, and I'm looking at all of the vegetables, because, you know, I've grown a few things, and, you know, my family has started a small garden in our backyard, and I'm like, these don't look like the ones that come out of the ground in my backyard. They're all very shiny. They're all like humongous. They're all too perfectly shaped. I'm like, this is some fake shit. But hey, I need tomatoes.
Right.
Well,
I'm gonna go get these tomatoes. But hold on. So then the very next day, today, I went home, and I was like, oh, let me see what's going on with the garden. You know, things are starting to dwindle down because, like, the weather is changing and stuff. I wasn't really expecting much. So I go back there, and it's literally like the equivalent, if not more, of the same exact tomatoes that I just bought from the store. And I'm like, really? But then I'm looking at them, I'm like, these are like, you know, they're not shiny. They're not all, they all have a unique shape. And I'm just like, these are going to be so good when I eat them. And I've noticed, like, throughout like this season and like the harvest that I've been getting, like the food is so much better than like what you would get at the store. Same method, same cooking process, but it's like, it just ain't it.
Different
it's just,
taste.
It tastes completely different. Like, it's not even a gas. So like, I've seen like firsthand from the small garden that we have, just the difference that it makes just in the quality, because it's almost like that food is dead. in a way.
It is dead.
It's like dead because it's not really gone through that process of like the care. It's just like this mechanical type of approach, like almost like robotic.
Well, even if it has gone through all of that care, and that's the funny thing about it, is that somewhere right now, somebody is taking care of all of the vegetables, all of the animals, all of everything.
Maybe.
Right?
Could be a
Even
machine.
Okay, like, because I saw a video earlier, and it was like, I actually reposted and put it on my story. The lady was sitting there in the aisle, in the eggs aisle at the grocery store, and she was like, it's crazy that it's a phenomenon right now that I'll sit in this aisle of eggs and be thinking about what level of chicken happiness I can afford.
Right.
What? Whoa, what?
Because,
I don't understand
right,
what that means.
you got the regular white eggs that they put in the plastic white container, right? The like the styrofoam container, the regular ones, Eggland's Best, right?
Okay.
You got those. Normal people get those, right? Maybe you get some people that got EBT or food stamps, some things like that. They normally get those. You go for those because they're the cheapest. But you don't know what's happening with those eggs. 9 times out of 10, government programs, yada, yada. They just doing whatever with the chickens. Now, then you got the organic eggs.
The brown ones.
Sometimes you got the,
Got the cage-free?
We get in there, right?
Okay.
Because you got to start with organic. The organic ones don't all say cage free.
You got to start with grass fed.
That's not even, we're not even
Oh, it's
that
not
far
grass.
yet.
That's me.
That's
I'm
beef.
bugging.
We're not even that far yet. So you got the regular run-of-the-mill eggs, and then you got the organic eggs. And then you got the organic free-range eggs. Now that means that these chickens have never been in a cage.
A small cage.
They've
It's
never
just
been
a
in
huge,
small
a big
cages.
cage.
They're in a large enclosing where they can run free. Right? Now, then on top of that, then the next level is like organic, free range, and then it's like some extra thing that they throw on top of it.
Omega.
So this is all just levels of products in which you pay more for the higher
Because
quality.
they telling you that now this is the thing that connects to the vegan ideology, right? They're telling you that these animals are going through these emotionally traumatic situations.
I mean, some of them really are.
I mean, sure.
I mean,
Okay.
we can see an animal. We know an animal that's going through an emotional situation.
Why
okay?
did you add to this? So
Are you talking about the cat?
I am.
they're making it about all of this, like this ideal that you know what an animal feels like, right? Because of what's happening in this situation.
How can you though?
None of them can possibly know. But
This is ridiculous.
now on the other side is saying like, okay, well, we have happy chickens. We have happy cows. But how you gonna market happy vegetables? You can't do that.
I mean,
But
you
but
can.
Let me say this.
You can.
Somehow there's somebody out there who is going to come up with that
They're
concept.
gonna do
the
it,
happy
right?
vegetable concept. Because that's already an argument. The argument that the vegans have is that, okay, they rather eat plants because plants don't have a life. Now, technically, right?
There you go.
Plants are living creatures. They're living beings. They're
Exactly.
living entities. They're sentient.
Mhm.
They have a feeling. They're existing. They live.
Exactly.
Right? So there's another argument out there where it's like, okay, but everything lives. Everything breathes.
exactly.
So then the vegan concept doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
So now because that concept exists, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some weirdo out there who's going to be getting very queer. And who's going to start saying he loves the vegetables, he loves the kale,
Exactly.
he loves the apples, and he's going to caress them
Word. He
and
gonna put
hug
crystals
them
in
and
the
put
garden.
crystals in the garden.
But look, so
Word.
then how would you explain, right? Because there's a real thing when you speak positively to plants and things like that, they grow better.
Now you're getting into a concept that you brought it up. Now you have to
Yeah.
explain that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the energy that you put into things matter, right? So if you're giving something some stale, funky, you know, whack energy, it's not going to want to thrive because it's not about the words, but it's about the energy that you're putting forth. Like energy is real, right? And not just in like a, you know, whoop-de-doo spiritual, like esoteric way, but it's real. Like you can see somebody and feel a certain way based upon whatever energy that they have, whether they say one word to you or not, whether they have a look on their face or not, you can feel whatever energy that they have. So like even when you're working with like animals or vegetables or whatever, the energy that you put in, if you feel good about doing it, if you want it to grow and you want it to thrive and you're putting your energy into it, it's going to be fed in that non-material way where it's like, I'm going to grow. I want to grow. I want to work with you to give you what you need because you're giving me what I need. It's like an exchange. So it's like everything that you kind of do and everything that you interact with, you're exchanging energy with at the same time.
That's true.
And that's
You know?
why like the food industry is dangerous, because what you just said is it's a very good point. But what you going back to the tomato, right? When you see those big tomatoes and they all look the same and they're all shiny and all of that, essentially what they do is they force the plant to grow that way. It's almost like me taking you and then grabbing you by the neck and by the throat and squeezing you and telling you to go do this thing, right? It's not going to feel very well, but the task will get done.
Right.
But it's just not going to feel very well. So it's the same thing that they do with the plants. So now the thing with this is, once you do that energetically, we eat that and we take that energy on. But here's to kick it up a notch, right? When you grow your own food, you know when you planted it, how you planted it, where you planted it. There's a connection there with not just the fruit, the plant itself, but also with the earth that you're standing on. Because you're doing the work, you're putting that energy in. So there's like an exchange. So energetically, existence itself is feeding you.
Right.
Energetically. Now, the food itself is also going to nourish you and it's going to nourish other people. So that in itself also feeds you. Because to answer your question, Warrior Zulbakande, that's how you get in touch with the earth. It's like getting in touch with the actual things on earth itself.
Right.
Now, that thing feeds you, right? But then you pick that plant and you eat it. Energetically, the energy that it took to grow, the energy that's feeding it through the earth is there, it's still present. But the longer it comes off, it stays off of the vine or it stays disconnected from where it grew, the less and less of that energetic presence that the earth is feeding it is there.
And you can
so
see
at
it
some
physically,
point,
Yeah.
you
like
see it
it's
physically.
rotting.
You can see it.
That's why things decay. Even a human being, like the energies that sustain us, our body decays once the spirit is no longer there because the energies stop sustaining the body because it's no longer housing a spirit. It's the same thing with food.
Right.
So the longer it's away from where it's grown, the energies start to decay.
That's crazy.
But
You even
what
just,
they
like,
do,
Drop the
crack
bomb.
something
Where the
else.
bomb button
Yeah.
at?
But they're not gonna get it though.
yeah,
they're not gonna get it.
people not gonna get. I'm trying
They're
not to
not
go
gonna get
too
it.
far with that one.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's
here's
clear.
the thing. Hold on, I'm not finished. Here's the thing, right? What they do is they put all kind of genetic modifications, pesticides, and chemicals to kind of make it
To
look
make it
a certain way,
Right, right.
to make it look like it's still sustaining, to preserve its death, because you're not preserving the life anymore, because the energy of that thing is gone, the nutrients is
Right.
gone.
To
Eating
preserve
mummified
its death?
Preserving its
That's
death.
crazy.
And that's what we're eating. But that's what happens when you're independent. That's what
Mummified
happens.
tomatoes.
Yeah, mummified tomatoes. That's what happens when you're a consumer.
Yo, that's
Hashtag
facts.
mummified tomatoes.
Crazy.
No, but it's real. And I mean, even if you can't have your own garden right now, maybe you live in an apartment building, even going to the farmer's market is
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like so much better. Cause it's like, you even meet the people that are cooking and not cooking, but are growing the
Growing the
food.
food.
Exactly.
And like their energy is like so kind of
yeah.
lively and always so welcoming
It's
and
true.
warm. And it's like,
It has to be. You're working
it
with
makes
the earth.
sense, yeah. And how
Yeah.
you feel after you even go and pick, and even while you're cooking with the food that you just picked from your garden, it's a whole different vibe. It's a whole
true.
different vibe. You're like so excited to get the outcome of whatever it is that you.
But man, that's crazy. I'm kind of tripping on the mummified tomatoes thing right now. There's something else that I want to get to because it
We
ties
have a lot
into
of questions too.
the whole
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
farming thing. But man, it's like the energy that's there, that's present when you're planting it, right? To put that seed in the ground and know that there's something that's going to bring life to that seed. And then the life that comes from that seed will support your very life. Should automatically mean that the earth itself is what's sustaining you like at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that energy is circulating
Right.
continuously. And then the idea that when you pick that thing from the earth, like from the vine, it starts to decay like slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going through a process where now it's gonna become like, if you don't eat it, it's just gonna become like some sort of sustenance for the existence in a different
In a
sense.
different way.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Right? It has to continue to become
Exactly.
in some way, you know. But the human being, ourselves, like being able to see that process and see yourself
Mhm.
in that process is like a crazy thing that I don't really think people like get, because that itself, right? Like a tomato was probably there before you.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, the identity of the tomato,
exactly,
not necessarily
exactly.
the single tomato.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like before I was born, there was tomatoes somewhere
Right.
in nature. Right? Like a tomato just grew. So somehow that representation in nature is telling me something, right? Like the trees themselves, all of these things that are growing and dying and evolving and changing, going through all of these things, and it can be combined in all of these different ways. It just gives you an idea of what, like, you could even say the gods are trying to give human beings like a glimpse of, to be able to like help you to evolve. So farming is, man, that's crazy. It's more important now that I've had this conversation.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You see what you just said is what people miss with it. And even to like, what another thing people don't understand is like this whole concept of like wealth and money, because that's how we even started this whole this conversation. It was about legacy, like
right.
passing things down.
Right.
This whole idea of wealth and money and all of this stuff. This is even where they get it from. They get it from the concept of energetic exchange. It's like when you put your feet in the ground, when you put your hands in the ground, and then you give that energy or that effort to the earth, and then it produces something, and it gives that thing to you, and then you can now feed off of that thing.
True.
And then now you can even feed other people with that thing. And the more people you can feed with that thing is like showing the more abundance and wealth you have.
Facts.
So that whole concept of them taking away.
It's blowing my mind right now. It's true. Because the same thing is like my grandmother was trying to tell me the same thing. Don't come asking me for $5. Show me that like you are doing something around here, and I'll give you $100.
Right.
Exactly. But you see how the system takes that concept though.
That's true.
Because they've removed us from the ability to do that, or
Word.
not even removed us from the ability. They've kind of like twisted our perception of that.
Yeah, the advertisement of it
They
is
advertise another lifestyle.
Exactly.
And then they take that away, and then they make sure we give our energies to something else, something that feeds the
Man.
system other than feeding ourselves.
Yeah.
The man, right? So it's crazy when you really think about it. It's like they've removed us away from the ability to produce legacy. They've removed us from the ability to produce true wealth. Everything is now monetary, but it's not actual wealth, because wealth has to come from the earth. It has to come from the gods. It has to come from nature. It has to come from the elements. And you know, I just encourage a lot of people to like, if you've never farmed before, just at least try it.
for
Start going to your local farms, like your farmers markets, like find a friend or family who does it. Like just start a small garden, something. Just plant something. I remember when I first came to this country, I was like 4, right? And then
You remember that?
yeah, I remember. At 4 years old, I'll never forget this, because we went on Church Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, and then we bought a guinep. And I was like, oh, they have guineps here? I was like, oh yeah, they guinep, like the guineplas, the green, it's green.
Oh, a little fruit.
Yeah, yeah.
it's like spiky, right?
No, that's the
lychee.
that's the lychee. Guinea, it's
Similar,
just
it looks like
it's
that,
green.
though.
It's just straight green. It's smooth.
Okay.
So we bought it, right? And I'm like, oh, they have guineps here? And they were like, yeah, they got it from either it come from Mexico, or sometimes it comes from like Panama. They import it somehow, some way. So we bought it and we were eating it. And at this point, I'd already experienced one winter. When I first came to America the first time, it was winter, and I hated it. I was like, nothing, there's no fruit, there's nothing here. This is the worst.
This is the worst place ever.
So when I got the guinep, right? I went back into the backyard and I planted it.
Oh.
I planted it and it started to grow. It started to sprout. And I was like, yes, it's growing. It's growing. I'm going to have a guinea tree. I'm going to have a guinea tree. So it started to sprout and then winter came and it died.
Jeez.
Dreams were shattered.
Dang.
Maybe it's still growing. Who knows?
No, it's gone. It's gone, Merikara. That's not a
Maybe
plant.
it came back the next season.
No, I can't survive here. It's not the environment.
It wouldn't even make sense for it.
Energetically, it's not. Yeah. But I'm only bringing that story to say, like, if you've never planted something, at least try.
Mm-hmm.
Start with the house plant.
Yeah.
You know, keep a house plant alive.
Or scallions. Scallions are so easy to grow.
Oh my
That's a
gosh!
fact.
Like you can literally
That's a
get your
fact.
scallions and then put them in water after you've kind of
That's a
chopped the
fact.
green part,
Word.
and they'll grow right back. Like we have some over there in the kitchen. So
Word. Just straight out of the water.
The market says he plans to. Good
nice.
for you.
Good.
We're gonna get to some of these questions on here.
Definitely. So, Dr. Daniel LaRoche, MD.
Daniel LaRoche.
He says,
I had a conversation with him
Yeah,
over the
that's one of the
phone.
New York people.
oh, word?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. He says start a GoFundMe for Dogons to defend themselves against jihadists.
This is the
Well-
GoFundMe, right?
Yeah,
I
we need
mean-
to. I think we should, eventually start putting that
Dr.
up
Daniel, if you're still watching, go to www.theearthcenter.org and then look into the Indigenous Renaissance Initiatives branch
there.
of the Earth Center, and you'll find that we have many fundraisers to raise funds for things like exactly what you're talking about. But I want to be very honest and very frank. Our view on how to help people isn't about necessarily the problems per se that I won't say that. It's just targeted in a different way. So yes, technically you would be helping to, protect people and help them to defend themselves against the powers that be in that area. Like we're always saying with Sal's Hot Sauce, that started because of, trying to figure out ways to raise funds to help those displaced people in the Fata and Goma region. So
I wanted to get to this. Warrior Zulbakande. Before we got cut off the first time, he had a question. How do you heal a family with different ideologies? Some of my family are hardcore Abrahamic believers. How do you fix this? Well, let me say this. You can't necessarily fix your family. The goal shouldn't necessarily be to fix your family in a sense where you're trying to impose what you know or what you think you know on others around you. To fix your family, it really starts with fixing yourself. It starts with adjusting yourself and then fixing the realities that you can see missing with yourself first, and then passing that on to your children, which is the legacy we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I would say also, no matter how Abrahamic you are or what religion you believe in or whatever you subscribe to, everybody has to eat. The energetic realities of nature doesn't stop for anybody. Everybody has to eat.
except the breatharians.
The breatharians, of course. They just suck on air, apparently, and they live. But even them, if you're sucking on air, you still need the air.
Why you
There's
gotta
still
suck
substance.
on it though?
Because they don't eat Merikara, they have to do something. They're not just breathing, they got to be sucking on something.
Sheesh.
But anyway, yeah, what we're talking about, get involved with your family, because it's important to keep a strong relationship with your family because, again, you're a part of their legacy. So whatever you produce is still going to be a part of the legacy in which, you come from. So, start with your family, go, build a strong relationship with them, maybe start a garden with them, show your mom how to plant, because no matter what, just sitting down planting a seed, just sitting down harvesting and reaping, whether you know it or not, that's you getting in tune with nature. That's you getting in tune with the gods. That's you getting in tune with the earth. That's a spiritual practice in itself.
Yeah.
Farming.
Yeah.
So, that's my advice on that one.
Yeah. Also, I would say meeting people where they're at can really do wonders. Cause even,
Yeah, I
say
do it all
if-
the time with you.
Yeah, exactly. So, like if you they're Abrahamic or whatever. Once you show kind of like an interest in whatever it is that they're so passionate about, you can almost always find something in common with whatever it is that you are standing on, whatever it is that they are standing on.
It all comes from one root.
And you can even connect with that person. Maybe they're talking about Abraham or something like that, and maybe you're talking about something in nature or something, you know, that actually has like a history to it, you know. But just having those moments with that person where they feel seen, and you're still standing on the principles that you're standing on, but you're also showing that you're interested in their process as well, instead of it being like this very like, you know, you need to be doing that, you know, you need to be thinking about this person was fake, this person was this. Find the reality in whatever it is that they're seeing, because there's something in there. Because everything has to be coming from somewhere. Everything has a source. So if you can find that source and you can use your intelligence to kind of reach that person through their language, then you can find some common ground. And then maybe, who knows, next time they'll be interested in like hearing some of your language as well.
That's a fact.
You know, so you got to come from it with different angles, different approaches.
Unless they're full of caca.
Yeah, then you got to swim through caca.
I got a friend who burnt their uncle's Bible.
Oh my God!
I did that. You don't have to say. You don't have to do that. It's me. I did that. That's fine. You know, that same uncle showed me his altar and his crystal ball.
No.
And his deity.
No.
I'm dead serious.
Nice.
Complete
Sometimes you just gotta
Nice.
burn Bibles.
Complete mind blowing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You flipped the script on you.
I'm sure you met him where he was at some point though, after you burned his Bible.
That's crazy.
It took a while.
Shout
Took a
out to
while.
Unc.
You know what it really was? It's when I went to Merikara.
Oh, and then he saw you kind
He
of
saw me going, and he saw me like, you know, he clearly saw me shave my head, and instantly he was like, "Oh, I know that. I see what's going on."
Oh, so
he was
he's
like,
doing that thing for real.
Okay. All right.
Now you real. Now you burning my Bible was okay.
Yeah. But, you know, shout out to you, Uncle K. Big up yourself.
Next question.
Yeah, you actually, what you said and what I said pretty much answered the previous two questions from the last slide before we got cut off. But we have a question: how do we get in touch with the earth? I think we
that's been
pretty
answered.
much answered that.
That's been answered.
What about the diaspora question?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that question. What is it that is driving the self-denial of certain groups in the diaspora? What is the spiritual implication? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. Do you guys understand?
I watched this movie because I think I get what he's saying with this question. It's like, dang, what's this movie called? Dang.
You don't got to plug the movie, just.
The movie is important though, and if people watch it, then they'll understand what I mean more. It's called His House. It's on Netflix.
His house.
It's called His House.
This is Master's house. We all live in Master's house.
Oh, you talking about the movie from the other night?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, in this movie, basically, there's some refugees that are coming from somewhere in Merikara, somewhere in Africa.
Coming from Sudan.
They were coming from Sudan. Okay, so these are Sudanese
Shout out to the
refugees,
Sudanese.
right? So they get on a boat.
And all the Marmaluks in the Sudanese.
Marmaluks worldwide. So these Sudanese refugees get on a boat, right? And they're leaving the country and they're going to the UK, right? So they end up in the UK, and you know they have the refugee like programs or whatever. They stick you in a room or something like that. And then, you know, you live there for some time until they can find a place to put you, like a house to put you in. That's like terrible. Like it's a terrible house. Like,
I think I saw this movie, but I fell asleep on it.
yeah.
Same.
So then basically they're living inside the house and the couple start seeing like ghosts. They start seeing things. Now the husband is like, I'm not going back. Like, I'm not going back at all. It's not an option. I'm not going back to Sudan. I don't want to go back. I'm not going to have these refugee people send me back. So the wife is like, well, I know what that is, and I'm not afraid of it. That's just a spirit that followed us here because we lost somebody. Like, we lost people on the way.
Yeah.
And those dead people are looking for their way back home. And they want us to go back. So, long story short, basically, like, the wife's not scared. And she's like, I'll go back. I don't care. Like, I know what this is, and I'm not going to play with it. So, the husband is like, no, I'm not going back, yada, yada. So, eventually, like, whatever this evil spirit is in the house, it asks the husband to, like, cut his flesh and give, like, an offering of his blood. And then, for that, we'll give you one of the people that died. And then, you know, you guys can live happily. So the husband, like, ends up doing it, and they give it was like it was a young woman who had, you know, died in the travels, and they were like, we'll give her back. So the husband does it. He cuts his flesh, gives the offering. Damn. And then, but it's all a hallucination. Like,
it didn't really happen.
No, it was real. It was real, but it wasn't like this. Like, the evil spirit didn't really give the person back, because it's like the person can't just magically materialize back to life. So there was some parts, and then, you know, to make a long story short, they didn't go back because the wife, like, killed the demon. But throughout the story, I'm seeing the actual, like, real parts of this movie that are real, and I'm like, man, it does make sense that some people get here, and then over time they've tried to turn it off. They just turned it off gradually, like, no, I'm not going back. No, I'm not going back. No, I'm not going back. I don't want to go back to that. I'm going to ignore these realities that I can perceive that I don't want to. And then from there, it starts to become like, because even throughout the movie, another theme was that the husband was, like, trying to dress more like like a white guy. He was trying to dress modern. Like, let me get a collared shirt, let me get some nice pants, let me walk a certain way. When I go certain places, I'm going to talk to people in a certain way. And the wife was telling him, like,
he bought into it.
He bought into it. Like,
he's becoming an individual.
Completely. But then, you know, the wife is like, I know that you idolizing them. And you're idolizing them more than, like, your own self. You have your own identity. And then she has, like, this whole dream where, you know, the spirits are telling her, like, you know, you got to go back and all this kind of stuff. But I think that movie helped me to really understand, like, even to another degree, that 9 times out of 10, you have people here who are just denying the fact, like, you have your own heritage. Like, it's real. It's not like a fake thing. You have your own heritage that has an understanding of those kinds of things. But when you decide to be like the husband in that story and just be like, no, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to it. I don't want that, because of maybe some of the trials and tribulations that are happening in those places and how you want to perceive them, you just end up on the losing side of it all. And then you become like this crazy person who's trying to grab for, like Merikara was saying with the example with her grandmother, you're trying to grab for this thing that's not there. Like, it's this fake reality that you, like, continuously grab for.
The Louis bag.
You want the Louis bag, the
strippers in Houston.
The strippers in Houston, exactly. And now look at Drake. He got, like, pins in his hair, and he's got, like, baby braids. He's out here looking crazy.
He'll do anything. Shit.
You know, but
you gotta stay relevant. That's the thing. That's the society we live in. You gotta stay relevant.
It's just
either your independence, or you're just going to always be selling yourself and being a stripper. Because Drake is just another stripper.
It's true.
He's just another stripper.
It's true.
In the system.
He's a lyrical stripper. That's a fact.
That's all it is.
But yeah, you know, to answer your question, just short and simple, Kim Warrior, because I know that's who you are. Yeah, when you sort of deny the non-material aspects of yourself and, like, the connection, because peep this, right? Even if, let's say, all of these like ghosts and ancestors and, you know, deities, all of that stuff is real and it's here. The air that you breathe is just as real as that, right? Now, when you start to deny that, it's almost like denying your connection to the earth. in the same way, because all of those things, if they're here, if there's somehow like something that some people can perceive, they're perceiving those things on earth, and those things then through that perception become earthly beings to a degree. And it's like, when you deny that, you're just like a crazy person. For somebody to tell you that they're not from Earth and be here and not be able to tell you how they can get somewhere else, like somebody coming up to you and saying like, I'm from Sirius.
Or the Pleiades, or
exactly
the Anunnaki and
exactly
lizard people and all this weird bro, just go grow a tomato, bro. That's the therapy you need. Because you know all of this stuff, like all of that, like the fantasy world that people find themselves in, is interesting, because when I was doing the research on that whole idea of them giving loans to people with the goal to separate or break up family structures and family units, what came with that was more and more cases of mental illness and depression.
Word. Yeah.
So people literally are trying to find escapes in this reality in which we have to just continue to work and build a system instead of building a legacy for ourselves and our family. They escape it by coming up with all these different weird fantasies that they can like live in. And it's like now, before you know it, like you're off world. You're not even on Earth anymore. Because Earth is so messed up to you because you're trapped in this system where they're just sucking you like a zombie. And now you're over here living on Mars. Now you're over here, you're from Sirius. Now you're from the Pleiades. Yeah. Now you're from I don't Nibiru. What's another one? One of those weird things. I don't know.
NASA's selling it all the time. They like, we're gonna build. It was an article I was reading the other day. They said they're gonna build houses on the moon in 2040 or something like that.
Bro, they've been saying that for years, bro.
Exactly.
I mean, you can. You won't live long.
How you gonna get there?
Yeah.
You know they never left Earth.
I mean,
like they never left the what they call the ozone layer of Earth.
The thing is, right? It's just so interesting to think that people are fascinated with being somewhere else when they don't know how to be where they are.
That's the problem, though.
Yeah,
it's because they lost the ability to know how to be where they are.
Exactly.
That was taken away.
That's
like
a fact.
It's been marketed to you to be different. Like you have to now buy the Louis bag, the Gucci bag. Ooh, fuck that farm. Fuck planting shit. Like get here, get in the cities.
That's a fact.
Give your body, your sweat, your tears, your soul, everything. Give everything to us.
Get a new body. You can always get a new one.
Yeah, get a new. You could pay for a new body.
Pay for it.
Just a completely different body.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy world we live in, but you know,
Isn't
at
there
this
a button
point,
for that?
what?
Oh no, it's the evil world we live in.
It's an evil world we live in.
Thank you for that one.
Nigga money,
Just cause I like that
You
one.
gotta do it
Just
at least
'cause.
once
I
each show.
saw a reel. It was like, will you give a tip at an Indian restaurant? It was a black
nigga
dude.
money.
Oh man.
Oh man,
It's a really
you know
nice
that's
song.
never leaving, right? That's gonna stay right here. That's forever.
You can keep it for a while.
But you know,
Just to drop because the reason that we wanted to highlight this all right now is because we have a forum that's happening October 14th,
Tomorrow.
which is tomorrow. It is
Yes.
tomorrow.
At-
Saturday, October 14th at is it 10 or 11?
it's 10 Central,
10
but
Central.
11 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, 10 Central Standard Time, 11 a.m.
Eastern.
Eastern Standard Time. Let me just pull up the spiel real quick. So basically what Kebta is doing right now is we're relaunching our membership, right? We now have a digital membership where you can log in on our website, and there is exclusive content there for you, exclusive interviews and lectures given by whether it be Master Naba or his disciple Naba Irita Shemira, the Heads menu. There's many things there. There's different resources there that are exclusive for members of Kepta. So tomorrow on the 14th, we'll be having an online membership forum, right? And that forum will be a talk on food security and sovereignty. And basically, we'll be talking about the importance of all of the things that we're talking about here now, also with a goal to have those people back in Africa, in West Africa, be able to continue their family traditions of farming and having the seeds available to them that actually come from their land. Because as we all know, Monsanto, all of these, big corporations are trying to usher in all of these genetically modified seeds and things like that into these places so that they can benefit from the lifestyles of those people, sort of without changing their lifestyle so much. It's just like that greedy mentality. Like, even if you want to keep the way that you wanted to live, I'm going to slide this into it so that somehow, like, you still have to depend on me. So
It's also a population control thing. But, I'm pretty sure we'll go into some of that on tomorrow's forum.
exactly.
But, just to throw it in there a little bit, like, it's like seed germination, right? It's like if what Monsanto's done is, it's an evil genius, and it's diabolical, because if they take the genetically modified seeds and they now take over a certain land or region, they plant those seeds there. What ends up happening is those seeds, they sprout and they send pores or hormones to like the surrounding areas. And then those areas, they now take on the germification or like the pollen, which is kind of like, sperm in a sense for seeds.
Facts.
And then the other surrounding areas now have to, like, by default, they grow that kind of like germination from like the genetically modified foods. So, to fight back and to, be not
really
independence
seeing yourself
of
in nature,
them,
man. That's crazy.
we're going to be, trying to get our own natural indigenous seeds. So, join in for that forum.
Some of the key questions though for the forum, if you guys are going to attend, and if you're not a member of the Earth Center right now, you can go to our Instagram, KEBTAH, Kepta, and just click the link in the bio, and you can get an allied membership right now, fairly cheap. And so some of the key questions are going to be, how does our modern diet compare to what our ancestors consumed? Very important. It's a question that comes up a lot for people. Do you and your community have access to nutritious, local, and natural food? Is our current food system improving or deteriorating year by year, like Kagzrimen was just talking about? And what steps can we take to make it more secure? So again, this is a super, super important topic. Like we're saying, it's a very practical and very simple step that a lot of us can take to get closer to nature, come closer to our ancestral practices, and through all of that become closer to the divine. So membership forum tomorrow, be there
Or be square.
Dang, I was trying to think of something else to say.
of course, you would say that.
You did it.
Yeah.
The square in the room.
Yeah,
So without further ado, rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Yes. Okay.
It sounded
So
very creepy.
first up,
It's
we
Friday
got-
the 13th. Sorry.
we got a man who gave up city life to live in a hut made from cow dung and bamboo in Ghana.
It's my guy.
Yeah, this one was good.
My dad's gonna do
I
that
gotta
very
pull
soon.
up this. Yo,
Is he? Is he really?
Yeah,
Your
that's
dad doesn't strike
hilarious.
me as that type.
It's changing.
Hmm.
Becoming.
Please.
That's
I can't
good.
lie.
That's good.
Hey. Here.
But yeah, so basically this guy like picked up his whole life. I think he lived in England or something like that.
Italy.
He lived in Italy.
Yeah, his mom was from Italy.
All right, if you got the context, then tell the story.
Basically, his mom was from
Yeah.
Italy, and his father was Ghanaian. So this guy, he spent his entire life searching for himself. We talk about that a
is
lot.
that
That's
funny?
why I'm laughing, because we always have that conversation about how people search for themselves, only to find that they have to go back to their own roots, their own ancestry to find themselves.
Right.
Because who are you but your ancestors, or who are you but your blood?
Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, basically. So he went around the world, went to all these different indigenous people in the South Pacific, and was trying to find himself, understand the world, understand nature and spirituality. And it led him back to Italy, where he had a conversation with his father. And his father told him basically that there's land that their ancestors left in Ghana. And this land is basically, it was a cacao farm, like cocoa, like chocolate.
Wow.
So he was like, are you serious? And his dad was like, yes. His dad was like, I see you basically doing all of this, and to me it doesn't make sense. You should just go home and like get in touch with who you are and find yourself, really. So this young man decided to like take it upon himself to leave and then go back to Ghana and get in touch with his roots. He learned the traditional culture. He's been eating the traditional food. He's been, you know, just really getting involved in the land and all around in Ghana. And then he basically started like a sustainable, self-sufficient home by himself in the wilderness on the land. So
I think I saw that.
yeah, like I actually saw his journey from the small little hut to now the entire home made out of like, you know, it's traditional home. Everything is nice. He makes everything from scratch: chocolate, coconut oil, his food, his toothpaste, toothbrush, you know, that's all traditional. And he also now does retreats where he teaches people how to live with nature and how to live like indigenous people do, and how to live like our ancestors did back in Ghana.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Does he have a family? Like a offspring?
Like a wife.
Wife, kids?
Currently, he does not. Not that I know of. I don't know his personal life like that. I just know his like journey towards spirituality and journey towards like going back to Merita.
Okay.
So yeah, I salute him. Big ups to him, because he really did it.
Word.
Like he practically, in a real way, like he's living his ancestral culture. He's to me, when I hear him speak as an initiate, I understand some of the things he's saying without saying it. So clearly he's, you know, initiated into something, and you know, he's doing the do. So shout out to him.
And that's even the interesting part about like initiation here. One of our initiatic brothers says all the time, it's like, this is the way that Master Naba did this was genius, because he made initiation accessible for like retards. Like us, like we're culturally retarded because we don't have any like connection to that, and if we do, it just is in like a weird fanatic kind of way. So him going back there and being a part of the lifestyle itself
And the community.
like within itself, is an initiation. And you're gonna learn things about the culture that other people by default just will never know, because you're actually a part of the day-to-day things that go into producing a lifestyle. And that within itself is going to initiate you. So,
And what I like about it too is he actually helps to feed the community, because his retreats, it's like he's bringing in people from the villages, and they're showcasing their skills.
Okay,
so
right.
they get paid for showcasing their skills to like foreigners or Westerners who have like no idea of like what
What's
it means
really
to be
going
like
on.
in a traditional African like lifestyle.
I just hope that he has children to pass it on to. That would be
Yeah.
like the icing on the
Yeah.
cake.
That would be great. I mean, you know, hopefully if he doesn't, he has like brother who has kids or something.
and continues
But-
what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely, because it's huge. So it'd be sad and shameful for it to just end with him. But like, you know,
It's a
I
start.
don't think he's not gonna not have kids.
I don't know him,
like,
so.
you know,
yeah, you never know. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully wishing him foresight.
still
and,
young, he's a
you
young
know,
guy.
Understanding. So,
Swimmer swimming.
next up, Haitians versus Dominicans. Crisis. Over the canal. So, did you guys read up on this one?
Frip bum,
What's that, bro?
frip bum.
Give us a little bit
Where's
more.
Hekisheta when you need
It
him?
means like, oh, what's up, my friend? Like, you know,
Did you learn that from Heki Sheta?
No, I learned it because in my office in insurance, I have a Haitian guy. He's like super tall. He calls me big guy, so I call him bigger guy. So sometimes you see me, he's like, for bum! And I'm like, for bum!
Nice.
Big
Put
guy.
like
He's
a
bigger
Jamaican
guy.
twist on it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we actually cracked this one open a while ago in one of our rapid fires, where there's basically a war between like Dominicans and Haitians over a canal that's like in between the two, like on the borders of the two. What are they, countries or states?
They're
Inside
countries.
They're countries. I'm bad with geography, but yeah. So there's a war that's kind of raging on, and it's literally just like Haitians and Dominicans going at it over this canal.
Does one of them want the canal, or what's the problem with the damn canal?
They don't want to share it.
Share it.
I mean, I think it's deeper than the canal. It's been generations and years
Oh,
of, you know.
I'm bugging. So in Haiti right now, okay, I just got my brain back. I think what's really behind it is the fact that some government power is trying to take over that canal for business, for whatever business ventures they're trying to do.
Of course.
But they out of nowhere, Baraka, out of nowhere, it seems like this gang violence that's happening in Haiti, there's this supposed like rise in gang violence, and they had to send like troops. Like, I forgot who sent them, but they sent troops into Haiti to stop the gang
what the
violence.
news is saying, right?
Exactly.
But I'm pretty sure whenever they say there's a rise in gang violence, it's a response to something that was already done to those people in that specific region. So I'm not gonna say I know exactly what it is in Haiti, but I know personally, usually when things like that happen, it's usually a response to something else.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I hope it ends well for the Haitians, though. I hope they smarten up and they figure out a way to really do it. You know, in these videos
Team
that are
Haiti?
coming up, I'm just saying, you know, in terms
I'm
of
Team Haiti.
because if you really think about, you know, Hispaniola, like the whole island itself, a large problem is that the colorism part of it, right? It's where they'll go like, you know, there'll be a Dominican who will be like dark skinned, and they'll be like, I Dominican, I'm not black.
I know black, papi.
Yeah.
I know black.
I'm Dominican, I'm not black. Because they want to separate themselves from like the color that is associated with a specific person.
Like Haitian
Or
people are usually
yeah,
darker
it's like they live on the same island as you, and then you know that you gonna call them Haitian.
They're the same people, bro.
Exactly.
It's just that one colonizer split the island with the other one because they was like, all right, bro, like you gotta
I'll
take
break
your
you a
half,
deal.
I'll take my half. Like
Yeah,
this the
because
deal
you
we
could
gonna
even
have.
see a lot of light-skinned Haitians too.
And
It's
there's
a
a lot
fact.
exactly.
It's a fact.
All light. I'm gonna say this. Y'all gonna hate me. Light skinned Dominicans. All of y'all are just light skinned niggas. Y'all get perms. Y'all know y'all get perms. I seen y'all in high school. Y'all get perms, especially you women. Y'all get perms. Your hair be like this. It be like this.
It's a fact though.
Y'all get perms.
It might be
bro.
a little looser.
Stop lying.
Some
The
people, you know,
Dominican doobie
Sometimes.
is a
the
staple.
Dominican
Sometimes.
doobie
It's a
was
staple. They only even do that to preserve their perm.
If
Yeah,
y'all weren't black,
that's true.
Why do y'all eat what's it called? It's a thing that they eat. It's they pound the plantain. That's
don't know.
fufu, bro. Y'all call it something else in Spanish, but it's fufu. Stop lying.
They eat plantain fufu. But no, I said that.
It's just light skinned Negroes.
I said that because
Why they gotta be Negroes? Damn, you can't just be
because-
Africans.
Saying, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
I said that to say like the Haitians are known. The Haitian Revolution happened, and we know that behind that there was some sort of like spiritual technologies that were going into it. So I'm just saying that I hope they go about it in a specific way and really figure it out.
Well,
because
the
we
Haitians-
know the problems that can come from that when you don't deal with it correctly.
Well, the Haitians already are saying like, yo, we don't got no problem. We gonna use our food.
Exactly.
We going
Exactly.
back. We gonna use it.
But it could backfire in the same way that it's already backfired based on what happened with the French
I
Revolution.
mean, I guess at this point for them, it's like, well, what else we got to lose?
What do we have to
Yeah,
lose?
it's
What
like,
else we
let's
gonna
do
do?
it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Next up, Ring.
Frippam.
Right? Ring, the ones that make the doorbells.
Ring doorbell.
Ring is offering $1 million to anyone who can capture an alien on the doorbell camera. Or no, not even on the doorbell camera, inside or outside, because you know they have indoor cameras. So they're saying any Ring apparatus that you have inside your home or at the doorbell,
You still know how to do like
things
graphic
on the
design
side
and
of
stuff like that?
Nah, hear me out. That's a good
Here you
point.
go. Last week,
Let's make it
last week he
happen.
was
Here's what we
going to
gonna
turn into Teresa.
We gonna still do that. But
Nah,
hear me out. We gonna get the Ring doorbell.
Right.
We gonna put it on y'all house.
He's gonna be an
I'm gonna dress up.
extraterrestrial.
I'm gonna dress up as a Palladian. I'm gonna paint my skin white and wear a blonde wig and wear blue contacts. I'm gonna be a Palladian for the day. And then you gonna catch me on camera. Then we gonna edit it and make it look real nice. And then we gonna send it and then we gonna get the $1 million and then we gonna split that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna do that. Thank you.
Because
that's a great topic.
That's great. There's so many ways to make money out here.
There's so many ways to make money.
America's a great country. You guys don't think so?
Money making
It's
is
the
like
money making capital of the world.
our thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. It says that with new sightings and further evidence that life forms might exist beyond Earth's atmosphere, there's a possibility that extraterrestrial activity could be happening right outside your front door. That's what Ring wrote in a press release.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, you could tell who
Now everybody's
has,
gonna
like,
get a Ring
who's
doorbell.
shaking hands. Like, it's so obvious who's shaking hands.
You know, it's funny because they don't actually expect people to catch.
It's ridiculous.
That's the funny part about it.
Like, dang, man.
But you know,
People
there's
can't
gonna be a
that
lot of
dumb.
people who see that and it was like, see, I've been telling y'all, the aliens.
No, but
Right.
even that Ring app,
Right.
that shit is about to be a social media platform.
No, it
The
is
fucking
already.
Ring app.
It is already.
Really?
It is already.
They have conversations on
Bro,
there. Like the whole neighborhood is in
Do
communication.
you know how many notifications I get every day about somebody's cat?
No, I don't know.
Lost cat, lost dog.
Stolen packages.
How
fights.
many times I see that every day? Like, and if you have the notifications turned on, bro, it's crazy.
Really?
Ring is like wild, and you just all you see is like these little petty crimes.
Yeah,
People walking up
scandal.
on somebody's front door, putting a package in a laundry bag, and keeping it chucking. Somebody was underneath a
A
cone.
cone.
They scooted up to the door. You know, like in Toy Story, scooted up to the door, put the package underneath the cone, scooted
Like one
off.
little hazard cone, like a big one.
How did they fit under there?
I don't know. Must have been a
You know,
midget
like
or a small
the
child.
tall ones that are on like the freeway,
Mm-hmm.
the big orange ones. You just got underneath it.
Oh yeah, like
to
the
the door.
circular ones.
Look at this
He's
guy.
like, I could fit under one of those.
That's not a bad idea.
Hide your packages.
I mean, if I'm gonna steal something, I'm not gonna steal packages. That's too small. I
never know
I
what's
think
in them.
big.
Honestly, you never know what's in
If
those
they left it on
packages.
their porch, it's obviously not that important.
Right.
You never. I mean,
gotta
it's,
think
it's
bigger.
important enough for people to be posting it on the Ring social media. Like, they got my
But
package.
people's attention spans is like so small and so short that
Yeah.
any little BS is just hilarious. So,
Aliens on Ring. Okay, next up we have Ed Sheeran. All right, you guys know who Ed Sheeran is?
Yes.
The singer.
he looks weird to me.
Yeah.
He's like
does.
an autistic kid.
He just looks
Damn.
Doesn't
sick.
know
He's just
autistic.
a redhead.
Nah, he's just look kind of sick all the time.
Yeah, it's like something's not fully there. With
I like
that
your
guy.
music.
Yeah,
Ed.
he
I
does
like your
seem
music.
kind of socially awkward.
But you probably need some spiritual work. Ed Sheeran says if people think it's really weird and really morbid, that he said that people think that it's really weird and really morbid, right? Because he built his grave on his estate in England.
That's not actually a bad thing. I don't.
Monica, I mean,
It's-
yeah.
I don't disagree with that. That
But-
makes sense.
It's sort of weird.
What's
it's a
weird
little
about it,
weird,
bro?
you know. But at least everyone knows, like, this is where I want to be buried. This is how I want it to be done.
Yeah, bro. Let me tell you something. On my family's land, I have cousins and uncles buried there, like in the compound.
Going back to legacy.
Yeah, it's like, why would we put our dead people outside?
Somewhere else.
They
Just
have
with a
to
bunch
be
of
home.
other dead people.
Yeah, like
that we
that
don't
don't
even
make
know.
it don't make no sense.
Yo, that's
So
facts.
if he has an estate and that estate is gonna be there in his family for generations,
Facts.
why would they not bury themselves there?
You on to something, man.
And it even makes sense because shout out to Trump, because Trump is a genius. He used the system against the system. Because if you can prove that your estate or your place is a graveyard, then you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Facts. Oh, okay. I see you.
It's a way to
Ed.
use
I
the
see you,
system as
Ed.
well. So
I see you.
it makes sense. So it's not weird at all. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's how people used to do it. You would
Exactly.
bury your family where you
That's a
live.
fact.
And even like the church, then they changed it to like the church that you're a part of. You would be buried on that land that your church is on with your family.
Facts.
But even that is too much. Like if you have a
Like
place,
you have family.
you have a family. Like you have a place. Just
Right.
that's where you should be.
They literally are paying for it. Nowadays, it's like they're just paying to take you somewhere.
Right.
Don't even know
it
where.
don't make no
Crazy.
sense.
Yeah, that's terrible. Next up, what's happening in the conflict between Israel and Hamas? So yeah, I did a little bit of research, and this is a very interesting topic that me and Kagzrimen were talking about earlier, and we'll probably just do like a whole nother episode on. So we won't go too far into it, but it's really interesting to me that anytime I look up the word Israel, or even when I looked up Hamas, it was like there was this Brotherhood of Islam that it started as like a Brotherhood of Islam, and then from there it was always about like this Palestinian support. And then I look up like what is Palestine, and then it's like it's this offshoot of this Medu word, like that means this thing or some other thing. And I'm like, but honestly, like if you don't do the right research online, you can't even figure out what Palestine like is. Like, what is it? So, to me, it seems like this whole conflict is an age-old thing that's continuing to happen because there's an obvious fight between like people that are from that land or maybe conquered that land at some point, and somebody else that conquered that land after them, and now they just fighting forever over the same land.
Yeah, they've been fighting for that land for at least 2,000 years now. But I would say, we're going to talk about it probably like in another episode, maybe next week, because it even ties into that whole World War III that we did an episode on before.
Word.
But like the fight is not necessarily what people are thinking or what they're saying per se on the news. Like, yeah, those things play a part, but we also have to understand like there's spiritual reasons as to why that particular area is like wanted by these people. Like there's things there. So they might be fighting based upon like politics, but behind the politics is like something spiritual. So it's really like a spiritual war, and it's something that's been going on for a very, very long time. There's a reason why they claim the Jews wanted that area, or the Jews fought for that area, or that's their homeland or whatever.
Yeah,
which doesn't even make sense, because even in the Bible they had to conquer that to make it their homeland.
Now that's the wild part to me, is that like if the Christian God is like the God of like peace and like good.
Never said that. That's what we said. People.
Yeah, that's
in the
true.
Bible,
that's true.
He's a vengeful God.
That's a fact.
He's a
When I
wicked
started reading
God.
that thing, I'm like, damn, this is God?
Yes.
He's bugging.
He's a
killing
gangster.
people left and right.
He's a gangster.
I'm like, damn.
Straight up gangster.
Don't want to fuck with Jesus.
He's a gangster. And God is just an acronym for the government, by the way.
Oh my God.
All right, next topic. So
Kaneyama said,
Excuse
curse
me,
of
sir?
the crown.
Sir,
It's done.
come. Next topic. It literally just says, "Listen to Spirit crack my neck." So listen to Spirit crack my neck. So there's this lady, right? I forget her Instagram handle. I wanted to shout her out, but it was hilarious. So there's basically this lady basically is standing in her backyard. It looks like a UK backyard. It's very small, very quaint backyard.
Brittany Bento.
So
Her last
shout out
name is
to-
like a Japanese lunchbox.
Yes.
oh, you know the language.
Bento box.
So basically, she's standing there, and no
like
more
how,
water.
Like how he's standing there right now, just
Yeah.
looking at us
One of the
with
temple
the
kids
saddest
is just
face
like
for no reason.
trying to get water before bedtime. So no. So she's standing there, and she's a part of the New Age spiritual scene. So she's doing some self-healing. And in this self-healing, she is letting spirit do the healing. And she's standing there, and she's having these awkward positions and opening
The spirit
her
is
mouth
moving her
and
in
twiddling
different
her
ways.
tongue and
Yeah.
she's saying that the spirit is doing all of this. What spirit this is, no one knows. It's just spirit, which is the almighty spirit that is coming into her body and moving her for herself.
Giving
And then
her the healing.
she kind of like does like this, and then she go like this, and then she go like this, and her neck cracks.
She's like, oh, spirit, thank you.
And then she's like, oh, that feels really good. And then she like did it again, and she like, it's hard for me to even say it. Like spirit cracked her neck again. It's like she cracked her neck because she was doing like certain movements. Oh man, it's a funny video.
Check it out.
I don't know if I want to really
To me.
comment because it's almost like what?
I mean, it's not to say that spirit can't or something can't possess your body and do things with your body.
What spirit, Merikara?
No, it was
Not
hilarious.
spirit, but like something can come and take
Right.
over your body and
Right,
do
but
certain things that
that's
it wants
not-
to do. But
we-
that's not that.
We
Yeah,
know that's not what
exactly.
was happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, there was comments in the comment section like, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus.
But they be getting taken by the Holy Ghost every Sunday.
Exactly. And it's healing.
Oh man, what was she trying to heal?
No, the
It's
spirit
just-
wanted to.
Thank you. Sir, come here.
Somebody gonna get beaten
Come here.
tonight.
Come here.
Somebody gonna get licked
Come on,
tonight.
come sit. Come sit. Come on, come sit wow. It's okay. Come on.
He's like, I know what's coming. Anyways,
All right, man. Yeah, next topic. That was just a funny video. This one is even funnier. So, man tries to change gender before going to prison.
oh shit.
This man was convicted of rape, right? 2 charges of rape.
Damn,
Yeah.
rape.
Wow.
2 charges of rape, right?
Wow.
2 charges. And then, just before his trial, he did the whole like, no, I'm a transgender, like I'm
Damn.
cross-dressing. He got a wig, he put on makeup, all of that stuff to go to the
And he
court
went?
case. He goes to the court case, and the whole thing happens, and they like, no. Because he's trying to go to a female prison.
Right.
Where he can keep doing
Keep
it.
So he's gonna
raping.
keep raping.
And then they
Wow.
like, nah, you go into
So
a
they
male
didn't let
prison.
him.
Yeah,
No,
they,
that's
they
good.
didn't let him.
I'm glad they didn't let him because these days you never know.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, that happened before though. Because I remember, I think we did a topic on that before. There was a guy who did that same thing, and he did assault some of the women in the prison to the point where
Word.
he actually impregnated some of the women in the prison.
Yeah, that's true. I did hear about
Wow.
that. I heard about that.
Yeah, this transgender thing is just getting way out of hand. And, you know, it's interesting because I saw a meme and it was talking about the fall of a society. You always see it happen whenever you see the society become obsessed with gender
Mm-hmm.
and all of these different weird ideologies we
Yeah.
have.
Mhm.
That's when you know or you see the signs that a society is about to end. Well, that's all, folks.
All
Thank
right.
you. This has been another episode of the Gator Gates podcast. Oh,
And it was.
wait. Are we? Was that the last one?
We're good.
I'm sorry, folks. We're going to continue. We have a few more topics on the Get Up Gates podcast.
An engineer has solved Kenya's waste problem. So there was a female engineer in Kenya who was taking all of the excess like plastics and things like that are in the wow, the cat is at the window.
Good for him.
All of those excess plastics and things like that are a problem in Kenya, and she's starting to make bricks out of the plastic, which are 10 times stronger than regular like clay bricks. So that's Kenya's one up on that, but y'all got to protect that lady because you never know what can happen to people.
You know what I like about Merikara? There's always some kind of genius kind of like thing that's coming out, because before I had saw like a group of kids or people, they were making charcoal out of the coconut ashes or coconut ash. Like, so you know how there's like all the coconut trees around?
Oh, yeah.
So people are just dumping the coconuts everywhere. So they have like a huge supply of just unlimited coconuts. So they take all of that, and instead of like dumping it or putting it where like the trash goes, they take it and they like burn it. And they sear it down. And then they mix it, what is it? Starch. But particularly starch from cassava. Into the mold, and then they put it into like another compressor in the fire, and then they get this kind of like charcoal from the coconut ash and the starch from the cassava that burns clean. Like it's pure white smoke, so it's like zero pollution. So the whole reason is all coming from nature. So everything is like cycling back into nature. Even the cassava that they're using is coming from the farms, so the people, like they're getting income from that, and then they're also selling clean, renewable like charcoal, which is better for the environment, and it stops like the because they did it because some people are getting sick because of the smoke from all of the coal, like all the chemical coal that they were buying from like industries that were putting it out there. So they came up with a solution towards that. And I'm saying it to say like there's always like a natural solution to things, but again, when you don't live in a society that is in tune with the nature that way, you kind of miss those kind of things, and your genius doesn't really get the chance to like flourish.
What do you think about this, sir? Is it good?
He doesn't know what's going on.
He says no, it's not good.
I think it's great. Bricks made out of plastic, amazing. Charcoal made out of coconuts, also amazing. So, next topic.
This one was interesting and kind of like funny. It's actually the last topic. 95% of NFTs values have dropped to $0, and over 23 million people have invested in these NFTs.
I mean, it was good while it lasted. It was a big boom. Like, I wish I invested back then.
Yeah.
And then just pull my money out. But if you still had money in, sucks for you. That's a lot of people got millions from that thing, though. Millions from just pictures, and now they're all broke.
Yeah, it's crazy
bankrupt.
the way that the advertisement and the propaganda system really works. Because another movie I watched called The Big Short. Yeah, The Big Short, like where they set up stocks to go crazy at some point, like with the whole housing industry.
But that's how it is in the
like
period.
Like you gotta drive it to go higher, and then it has to fall at some point. And if it falls hard enough, you can set it up to like in a way where you can make the maximum profit, and then just crash it. And then you don't have to worry about like maintaining it anymore. You just on to the next thing. So, yeah, man.
We had a question,
Yeah. What was it?
Does planetary movements like eclipse and the moon phases always dictate universal change and spiritual destiny? That's a loaded question. I'm gonna say that what most people miss in terms of like astronomy and astrology is the fact that the Earth is not considered. No other planetary body really affects a human being more than the Earth. Sure, there's a relationship with the Earth and the rest of the celestial bodies, and that relationship affects the human being, but you always have to look into like what the Earth is dictating for the human being first before you can look at whatever all the other celestial bodies are, trying to bring forth. So that's how to answer that question for now. But if you really want to know more, join initiation.
Word, Kim Warrior. Like every week, you hear what all these questions.
Where you
bro.
live at?
Like pull up to a temple, bro. But yeah, man, there's a lot of ways that you can get involved with the work. Even if you're not going to join initiation, again, we have membership. We have the membership forum that's happening. You can get a taste of what we do outside of the initiation that is helping all of the great projects that we have to help those back in Africa be able to continue to build that bridge with us here in this wild place that we call Manu, or the Americas. Kebtah, KEBTAH-NJ.org. Check out Gate of Gates merch. Get you a shirt. Pull up to the club and let them know. Back to your regularly scheduled decolonization. You heard?
Yeti.
This has been another episode of The Gate of Gates, and we'll see you next week.
See you next
Peace out.
week.